Welcome back to Insight 2012. I'm Charlie Sykes, joined by Congressman Paul Ryan, Sean Duffy, and Reid Ribble. Let's get into some of the nitty-gritty of the economy. Now, Congressman Ribble, everybody in Washington is talking about jobs. In fact, the President of the United States came here to Wisconsin talking about manufacturing jobs. At the same time, his administration has been pushing a very aggressive regulatory regime. Now, he didn't get cap and trade, the cap and trade where he said this wouldn't necessarily cause the cost of electricity to skyrocket, but he is coming down with EPA regulations that are having a significant impact in Wisconsin, and I know in your district. Could you just talk a little bit about what we're facing here in Wisconsin from some of those regulations?
Well, there's a regulatory onslaught that's going on, and listen, you'll hear the other side talk about how deregulation caused the mortgage crisis and all that. That's just like a Hoover myth out there. Listen, even when President Bush was in charge, we were running up regulations at the rate of about 72,000 pages per year. Under this administration, it's over 85,000 pages, on its way to 100,000. Who knows what the Affordable Health Care Act will do. And so just one example, under the Clean Air Act, the EPA has come up with a Boiler MAC rule, which basically is going to require every coal-fired boiler in the country to be converted to natural gas. The problem is the regulation is designed in such that there's no technology with which to accomplish it. And not only that, in 2006, the regulation was put in place. All my paper mills up in northeast Wisconsin spent millions and millions of dollars to meet a standard in 2006, and then in 2010 they're told that, well, we made a mistake. That's not really the standard we want, and now it's going to cost another multiple of.
So they don't get a refund on that.
Yeah, they don't get a refund. There's no grandfathering. If you did what the government asked you to as a business owner, and they changed their mind, well, too bad. You got to do it over. The NFIB said that regulations cost the National Federation of Independent Businesses. For those of you that I used to run a small company. The reality is the current regulatory environment is costing small business owners around $10,000 per year per employee on average. It's time to stop this regulatory onslaught. The government does not create jobs. I know the president's going to take credit for whatever the job numbers are. He's going to spin it to make it look good. What we need to do is get government out of the way so that business owners who are really doing the work create jobs, and they ought to get credit for it, not the White House.
Okay, Sean Duffy.
To piggyback on that.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I think if you look at all the regulatory and the red tape that have come from Washington, it has made it more difficult for us to compete. I mean, in Wisconsin, we make things. And I think our way of life is under attack from all the regulations, the red tape, the new threats of tax increases. And oftentimes it comes from the administration, but it also comes from these bureaucrats in Washington. And so what we've tried to do in the House is try to rein that part of the unaccountable bureaucrat in. And what we've done is said, listen, if you have a regulation that's going to cost the economy $100 million or more, you have to come to Congress, and we have to approve that regulation. We're empowering your elected representatives again, so if you agree with the regulation or you disagree with the regulation, you have someone to come and talk to that you've sent to represent you in Washington. You should have heard the debate on the House floor.
That's one of the 30 bills we passed.
That's right. One of the 30 bills. You would have thought that we wanted to start rivers on fire, lakes on fire. All we're trying to do is make your House and your Senate more accountable to the people that sent them to Washington. But just maybe one other point as well. I was the DA up in Ashland County. And we hear a lot about unions today and Republicans not being in favor of unions. Take a step back. If you look at the mine in northern Wisconsin, more than likely, those were going to be union jobs. And who supported the mine? And who didn't support the mine? If you look at the Keystone Pipeline to build it are probably more than likely union jobs. And who supported the Keystone Pipeline and who doesn't support the Keystone Pipeline? What makes me so angry is that we have Democrats saying that they support jobs in Wisconsin and in America, and every time they have an opportunity to vote for job creation, they vote against it. I'm sick of it.
Now, Congressman, for a while, the administration, the president was trying to say, no, I'm not necessarily against the Keystone XL pipeline. And yet, when it was up in the Senate vote this last week, he personally lobbied to make sure they didn't get enough votes to go ahead with it. So how do you articulate what is the president's job program at this point?
More jobs for bureaucrats. Look, I think he comes from this philosophy that the government needs to run this. The government needs to run the economy. The government needs to run the energy sector, the healthcare sector, the financial services sector, because life's too hard for everybody to figure it out, so we have to have these smart people in Washington figure it out for us. I mean, it's this sort of fatal conceit they subscribe to. What happened is they ran everything for 2 years, 2009, 2010. They passed these huge laws. Now, Reid, Ribble, and Sean Duffy came and helped take back Congress. They can't pass any more laws, so now they're starting to regulate. So now they turn to the bureaucrats, and they're kicking in massive regulations, which really literally turn over the government's management of these amazing sectors in our economy that have used to produce all these jobs. And now we're just seeing a huge sucking sound of jobs leaving this country as a result of it.
All right, when we come back, I want to be more specific when we talk about the price of gas and energy exploration issues facing the United States. You're listening to News Radio 620 WTMJ Inside.